Have you heard about the prophecy? The words that God let Zechariah the prophet speak. You read in 9 and 9 about the one who will leave the 99. It's finally time. The king is coming. On a golden chariot? Nah, brother, that's the wrong king. My king came riding on a donkey, riding into Jerusalem, where they took the palm leaves off the palm trees, laid them on the ground as they walking, like the psalm reads, and they all sing Hosanna in the most highest. The crowds began to bow down before the most highness. People began asking who he was, and they said his name is Jesus and he's right by us. The crowd praised the name of the same man who's the same God who chooses the last chosen to slay giants. Is the same man who healed the blind man whose life was sightless. The same man who raised the dead man whose life was lifeless. A love that's unfair it seems, but that's the love of Jesus to care the needs. Then comes the Pharisees. Hold up, y'all heard of this man who's actually saying he's God? Is it true? No, it's blasphemy. What do we do? Ask him casually what he can prove, or make it all look like a casualty. So how do we do this? Where can we find him? Wish we all know who could give us a clue. Maybe there's someone a part of his crew that will give him to you. Yeah, his name is Judas. We can all pay him whatever he wants to turn over Jesus no matter the cost. Yo, how should we kill him? We kill him with rocks? Nah, that ain't enough. Hang him nailed to a cross. Judas then showed where he is. He showed who he was by the side of a kid. Put the silver in the bag, hand the cash, there's no turning back. Now Jesus, put your head behind your back. The guards, they took him away and put him in chains, then brought before Pilate. The people began to accuse things he didn't do, but Jesus stayed silent. But Jesus right next to Barabbas, a man who crime was ecstatic. Now who should be free? They chanted Barabbas, 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 and Jesus found guilty and the prisoner was free. They dragged him and beat him, he bled, and placed a crown of thorns on his head. All the blood that he shed from the whip, when they hit him again and again and again and again. Forced him to carry the cross on his back, he carried his star until he collapsed. Laid down on the cross, then he looked across and saw two men, and they grabbed his right hand, nailed to the cross. Applause wasn't close to the screamer when they nailed the left, with his arms wide like to symbolize the size of his love for you. Blood dripping down to his feet, watching seen him bleed, watching heard him scream. You would not believe, right when they lifted him up so they all could see. He looked up to God. Why have you forsaken me? That should have been me on that cross. He didn't do anything wrong, I did. He lived a perfect and sinless life, and I'm a sinner. He took the cross and paid my debt, but I should have paid it. He was God and he came to earth to serve, not to be served. That's Jesus. Jesus was a man who loved everyone, even those who put him to death. That's Jesus. I can't even imagine how Mary felt seeing her son in the sky. It must have been the darkest day to see the baby from the manger hang on that cross and be crucified. The first day they took him off of the cross and laid his body in the tomb. A king whose story started as a baby in the womb came down to earth, leaving his throne, his kingdom, and his glory to die for me and for you. They wrapped his body, then they rolled the stone. The people walked away with tears that fell like rain. From God's people who have no hope or nothing to proclaim. The second day, nothing changes, leaving people wondering if it's too late to pray. Then came the third day. Some women came up to the grave and realized that something has changed. The stone was rolled out the way, the body was gone and out of the cave. One heard the voice of an angel, he looked right at her and he said, Mary, why are you weeping and why are you looking for living among all the dead? Mary. She opened her eyes to realize the presence behind, she started to cry. He opened his arms, stretching them wide, can't keep it inside that he is alive. Disciples ran straight to the Father and Peter ran right through the water cause he is alive. He showed them the holes in his hands, they can't understand but they know that they know he's alive. Proved he wasn't a ghost, he showed them his flesh and bones and proved he's alive. There was the proof, it was all in their sight, now they can't deny that he is alive. This is my life and I'm gonna live it, and with it I'm giving him all of my praise. All of my past, yeah, it is behind me. Jesus, he went and he broke all my chains. My sins are gone, he washed them away. I'm clean by his blood, he covered my stains. What he did for me, man, I can't believe, because what he did, I can say that I'm free. I'm telling everyone I know that I'm free. He paid my debt so I can live free. By By the blood of the Lamb I'm free indeed.